Zanzibar, April 2026. What was supposed to be one of the happiest moments in a young woman's life turned into something that still doesn't make sense. 31-year-old Ashlee had just said yes. A new life, new plans, a future she was ready to build. She flew here to celebrate her birthday, her engagement, her happiness. And in every photo, every video, she looked happy, full of life, glowing with energy. But just a few days later, something went wrong. She was found inside her hotel room, in a place no one would ever expect. And what was later called a tragic accident raised more questions than answers. Because the details don't add up. The timeline feels off. And the people who are closest to her may know more than they're saying. Her family is still searching for the truth. And online, people are asking the same question. Was this really just an accident? Or is there something much darker hidden behind closed doors? Before we begin, drop a like and share your thoughts if you believe justice has no borders. And let me know in the comments, do you think a hotel could actually hide evidence to protect its reputation? Let's get into it. Ashlee Jenae headed to Zanzibar to toast to her best life. Instead, she ended up in a luxury villa wardrobe, her breath stolen in a place where her screams were never meant to be heard. While local cops are writing it off as a personal choice, her family is calling it a massive cover-up, and one specific email from the resort might just be the smoking gun that proves someone's lying. Zanzibar is straight out of a dream. White sandy beaches, turquoise water, the whole Spice Island vibe. People fly across the globe just to get a glimpse of it. In early April 2026, 31-year-old Ashlee Robinson, known to her fans as Ashlee Jenae, checked into the Zuri Zanzibar. This is a high-end luxury resort where rooms go for over $1,000 a night. Ashlee was there to ring in her 31st birthday and celebrate her engagement with her fiancé, Joe McCann. Every single photo showed a woman head over heels. Every post captured her absolutely glowing. But this Instagram-perfect getaway was about to crash into a total nightmare. Before we get into the messy contradictions of this paradise gone wrong, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join the community. Whenever a Black woman loses her life in a foreign country, her story way too often becomes just a footnote, buried under travel ads and corporate damage control. By hitting that notification bell, you're making sure Ashlee's name stays in the headlines and helping us push for the truth. Let's talk about the night everything went south. April 8th, 2026. The tropical air was heavy inside that luxury villa, and the peace was completely shattered. Reports claim a massive, heated argument kicked off between Ashlee and Joe. It was loud, it was intense, and it got so bad that the hotel staff actually had to step in. They didn't just knock, they went inside. The staff made the call to split them up, moving them into separate rooms for the night. The idea was to keep things safe and de-escalate the drama. But the silence that followed was chilling. On the morning of April 9th, 2026, the party was over. Ashlee was found unconscious, but she wasn't in her bed. She was tucked inside a wardrobe. The local police were quick to jump to conclusions, claiming she had taken her own life using a piece of fabric from her dress. But get this, there was an 11-hour delay before her family was even told what happened. And while the cops were pushing the suicide narrative, the medical reports were singing a different tune. They pointed to strangulation and suffocation, mentioning a very suspicious mark around her neck. Then there's the email. A message from Zuri Zanzibar claimed the couple left the premises in good condition. But if the room was fine, where was the evidence of a struggle? Why would a woman so full of life be found in a closet? The wardrobe door might have been shut, but the secrets are definitely starting to come out. Ashlee Robinson lived her life in 4K. To her thousands of followers, she was Ashlee Jenae, a 31-year-old lifestyle influencer who moved with a level of grace that felt almost out of reach. Her brand wasn't just about aesthetic shots, it was about the art of the glow. She built a community that celebrated Black luxury, global travel, and the hustle for a life well lived. But when you look past the filters and the follower counts, you find a woman who is a true visionary. She was a daughter from a super close-knit family who turned her love for travel into a career that took her from Dubai's skyscrapers to the elite lounges of Atlanta. By the first week of April 2026, Ashlee was standing on the edge of what should have been her biggest year yet. Her 31st birthday was just a few days out, but the biggest news in her life was her brand new engagement. She just said yes to Joe McCann, a heavy hitter in the crypto space and the founder of a major investment firm. These two were a power couple in every sense: young, successful, and by all accounts, completely obsessed with each other. This trip to the Zuri Zanzibar wasn't just any getaway, it was their engagement moon. At over $1,000 a night, it was supposed to be a sanctuary where they could unplug and toast to forever. Looking back, the content Ashlee posted during those last few days is haunting because of how flawless it looks. In one clip, she's on a boat with the turquoise Indian Ocean spraying behind her. She's rocking a vibrant outfit, her hair is blowing in the tropical wind, and her smile is just massive. There isn't a single hint of a woman in crisis or someone about to make a dark choice. She looks exactly like a woman living her dream. Plus, Ashlee was a planner. She had lists for everything. She had a wedding to map out, a business to grow, and a birthday dinner already on the books for the very night her life ended. Her family back home knew a side of her the internet couldn't see. They knew a woman of deep faith who treated every day like a gift from God. Her mother calls her their North Star, a daughter who checked in constantly, no matter the time zone. Ashlee was the glue of the family, the mentor to her younger siblings who made sure everyone felt seen. She was meticulous about her image and her dignity, and that's the detail that makes the official story feel like a gut punch to everyone who loved her. A woman who lived her life in the spotlight, who took so much pride in how she presented herself, doesn't end her story in the dark, cramped corner of a storage closet. On the night of April 8th, 2026, the party that was supposed to kick off Ashlee's 31st year came to a violent, jagged halt. All that five-star luxury at the Zuri Zanzibar couldn't hide the conflict that was boiling over. It started as a disagreement, a heated blow-up between Ashlee and Joe that quickly spilled beyond the walls of their private villa. The noise was so bad it reached the guests next door in room 24. They heard an altercation, voices raised in a way that had no business being in a sanctuary. Fearing the worst, hotel management did something you almost never see at a resort this exclusive. They physically stepped in. Security and staff burst into Villa 25. They didn't just ask them to keep it down. They made the executive call to separate the couple for the night. In a move that feels chillingly prophetic now, staff escorted Joe McCann to a different room, room 65, about an 8-minute walk away from Ashlee. This wasn't just a casual suggestion, it was a documented peacekeeping measure. At that point, the resort was on high alert. Ashlee was left alone in their original room, but she wasn't done being heard. She reached out to the one person who always helped her find her center in the middle of a storm, her mom, Yolanda Denise Endres. In that final phone call on the night of April 8th, Ashlee didn't sugarcoat things. She confirmed to her mother that she and Joe had been fighting and that they were currently in separate rooms. There wasn't a single word about wanting to end it all. No despair, no goodbye vibes, nothing. In fact, her last interaction with the hotel staff was totally normal, almost boring. She'd asked for a charging cable because hers was acting up. An employee headed to her door to help her out. This was a woman trying to power up her phone, looking to stay connected, and clearly planning on seeing the next morning. When the staffer dropped off the cable, Ashlee asked them to come back in 10 minutes. It was a tiny window of time, barely a heartbeat. But when that same employee knocked again just 10 minutes later, the silence coming from that room was deafening. Whatever went down in those 10 minutes, or the hours that followed, is a total black hole of he said, she said, and conflicting stories. The hotel worker went inside and found her. The official line from the Zanzibar authorities is that she was found hanging from a clothesline inside a wardrobe. They claim she was actually found alive, rescued, and rushed to a local hospital. But this is exactly where the timeline starts to fall apart. If Ashlee was found right after that 10-minute window, why on earth did it take 11 hours for her fiancé to call her family? And why was the first thing Jo McCann told her parents that she was stable, only for the hotel to call hours later and say she was gone? The details from that night are just brutal. A woman who was just popping champagne for her engagement and birthday was suddenly labeled a suicidal guest by resort management. But the evidence points to a much different kind of struggle. Later on, the resort sent an email describing the room as being in good condition. That phrase is honestly haunting. If there was a fight intense enough that staff had to physically separate the couple, and if a woman was found hanging in a closet, how could that room possibly be in good condition? Does good condition include the physical marks of a woman fighting for her life? Or does it just mean they put the furniture back where it belonged? The music of Ashlee's life was cut short on that island, but the noise surrounding the investigation was only getting started. The local cops at the Nungi station took a report that night. They had the fight on record. They had the separation on record. And yet, they let the sudden suicide narrative stick before they even ran a single forensic test. On the morning of April 9th, while Ashlee lay in a hospital bed surrounded by strangers, far from the glamorous life she shared online, her fiancé's passport was being held by authorities. The police were grilling the staff, and thousands of miles away, her mother was staring at her phone, waiting for a text that was never going to come. That blow-up in Villa 25 was way more than just a disagreement. It was the closing chapter of a journey that was supposed to end with a crown but resulted in a shroud. On April 9th, 2026, the sun peaked over the Indian Ocean, but for Ashlee Robinson, the world had already faded to black. After the Zuri Zanzibar staff stepped in, a heavy, unexplained silence took over Villa 25. This is where the story pivots from a domestic blow-up to a terrifying procedural mystery. There's a massive gap, 11 hours, between the moment Ashlee was left by herself and the moment her family back in the States got that first phone call. That's 11 hours where the truth was being molded, managed, or maybe even buried. When that silence finally broke, it wasn't a call from the Zanzibar police or the U.S. Embassy. It was Jo McCann calling Ashlee's mom, Yolanda. But the way he framed it didn't fit the horror of the situation. He told her Ashlee was in the hospital but claimed she was stable. He didn't start with the nightmare. He started with a reassurance that turned out to be a devastating lie. It wasn't until Yolanda started digging, demanding to know exactly when this happened, that the timeline started to fracture. Jo finally admitted that whatever went down had happened 11 hours earlier. Just think about the weight of that. In a world with instant DMs and international roaming, a woman is rushed to the hospital in a life-or-death crisis, and her mother is left in the dark for half a day. During those hours, while Ashlee was fighting for air, or was already gone, the narrative was being set in stone. When the family finally got a direct line to the hotel, the stable story completely vanished. The resort staff gave it to them straight. Ashlee was dead. But they added a detail that made the family's blood run cold. They claimed that according to her husband, a title Jo didn't actually legally have, Ashlee had hung herself on the door. Her family shut that down immediately. They had the medical reports from the first clinic she was taken to, and later the report from the second. These documents are the most brutal pieces of evidence in this whole case. They don't just point to suicide, they point to a fight. The first report noted an unidentified mark around Ashlee's neck that didn't look like it came from a dress or soft fabric. It looked like the signature of violence. The second facility was even more blunt. They listed the cause of death as cerebral hypoxia caused by strangulation and suffocation. In forensic terms, those are usually the hallmarks of a manual struggle. Those aren't the words usually used for a simple hanging. They suggest a hand over a mouth, a grip around a throat, a literal fight for the very air the Zanzibar breeze was supposed to provide. But while the family was reeling from this news, the Zuri Zanzibar seemed focused on its own reality. In a move that feels like a cold corporate shrug, the resort sent an email that's now the center of a lot of public outrage. The message basically said the couple left the place in good condition. This tiny detail says everything about what the investigation prioritized. If a guest is found unconscious, if a wardrobe is a supposed suicide scene, and if staff had to break up a physical fight just hours before, how on earth is that room in good condition? Does that mean the blood was scrubbed? Does it mean the furniture was neatly put back? Does it mean the resort cared more about its property than the person who died inside it? To Ashlee's father, Harry Robinson, that email was nothing short of a slap in the face. He pointed out the obvious. The resort is crawling with cameras. That entire timeline is sitting right there in digital memory. But while Ashlee's family is begging to see the footage, the local authorities seem totally fine letting that 11-hour void stay a mystery. While her body sat in a Tanzanian morgue, the villain of the story shifted. It wasn't just about who was in the room anymore. It was about the systemic silence.
And now the details on the investigation into the death of Ashlee Robinson. Her family is demanding answers after the influencer from South Jersey was found dead during a trip to Africa where she had just been engaged. Action News reporter Ashlee Jenae joining us live in the Satellite Center with more on this heartbreaking story. Ashlee.
Alicia, well, Ashlee Robinson, she actually was raised locally in South Jersey, and now her death in Zanzibar is making headlines across the world. Well, today we spoke to her family in Delaware, who say they aren't getting answers from her fiance or officials in Tanzania about what happened to her.
Uncertainty, mystery, anger, sadness. It's like a part of me has been taken away.
On April 5th, influencer Ashlee Robinson, who goes by Ashlee Jenae on social media, was celebrating her 31st birthday in Zanzibar, Tanzania. She was on the vacation with her boyfriend of 1 year, who popped the question just 2 days before.
We believe that they were in love. We believe that their relationship was genuine.
Ashlee's mother says she never would have expected that less than a week later, her daughter would be dead. On April 8th, she says Ashlee called, saying she and her fiance got into an argument and were moved to separate rooms. The next day, she received another call, this time from her fiance.
He told me that Ashlee did something to herself and that she was being taken to the hospital. I said, what happened when? And he told me it had been 11 hours prior.
Hours later, the luxury hotel the couple was staying at called saying Ashlee passed away. According to the hospital's medical report, Ashlee had an unidentified mark around her neck. They wrote, quote, according to the husband, he found she hanged herself on the door with several question marks.
Sometime Jill went back to Roman security, and that's how they found her.
Ashlee was also taken to a second hospital who listed her cause of death as cerebral hypoxia by strangulation and suffocation.
She's never done anything that would ever lead me to believe that she would do something to harm herself.
She was not just going to be discarded and forgotten about.
And the family, as you just heard, they are just desperate for information. They tell us that they are requesting surveillance footage from the resort. They also say that they have contacted police, the consulate, and embassy and have not heard back. No Action News, we also tried to contact Ashlee's fiance and we also did not get a response. The family says their next steps are going to Zanzibar themselves to try to get answers. We're live in the Satellite Center. Ashlee Jenae, Channel 6, Action News, Rick.
All right, Ashlee, thank you for that report.
The U.S. State Department hasn't dropped a public statement yet, and the Zanzibar Ministry of Tourism is out here telling everyone to just let the investigation play out. But for anyone watching the clock, this doesn't feel like a hunt for the truth. It feels like a desperate sprint to protect her reputation. The woman who was living her best life just days ago has been reduced to a statistic in a foreign legal system. That 11-hour gap isn't just a slip-up. It's the exact space where the truth was allowed to suffocate. Right in the middle of this storm is Joe McCann. To the rest of the world, Joe was the big-time crypto investor, the founder of a major firm, and the guy with the deep pockets to pull off the ultimate birthday dream. But as the heat turns up, the spotlight is moving away from his bank account and onto the mystery of those final hours. Joe McCann isn't just the grieving fiancé anymore. Now, every move he makes and every word he says is being ripped apart by the police and a very skeptical public. The gap between his polished online persona and the reality of this investigation is massive. On April 14, 2026, Zanzibar's Deputy Police Commissioner, Zuberi Chamer, held a presser that completely changed the vibe of the case. He confirmed that they're holding Joe McCann's passport. Even though the cops haven't officially labeled him a suspect, they aren't letting him leave the island. He's being treated as a key witness, but in a country where the cause of death is being called into question, a confiscated passport is a huge deal. It's a loud signal that the stable story he fed the family hasn't sold the police yet. Ashlee's family has described Joe's behavior after finding her as very, very odd. After that first confusing call to Yolanda, where he dropped the bombshell that something happened 11 hours earlier, Joe basically went radio silent. He didn't call with hospital updates. He didn't call to figure out how to get her body home. The family, stuck thousands of miles away, had to get the worst news of their lives from a hotel manager instead of the man who just put a ring on her finger. The question that's haunting everyone is why? Why wait 11 hours? Why claim she was stable if she was supposedly found hanging from a clothesline? And then there are the whispers about his past and the power dynamics of their relationship. While Joe hasn't said a word publicly to defend himself, Ashlee's inner circle is wondering if their perfect public romance was just a mask for a much darker reality. But maybe the most disturbing detail comes from Joe's own story. He told the hotel staff and the cops that he was the one who found her. He claimed that after being moved to room 65, that 8-minute walk away, he eventually went back to the villa with security and found her hanging from the door. This brings up a massive red flag. If the hotel staff moved him specifically to keep Ashlee safe, why was he allowed back at her villa? And if he was really with a security guard, where is the footage or the witness statement to back up his timeline? The family's suspicion of Joe isn't just a side effect of their pain. It's fueled by cold, hard inconsistencies. The family's doubt is fueled by the glaring holes in Joe's story. He reportedly told them she did this to herself, but the hospital records tell a much darker tale, specifically citing suffocation and strangulation. Let's be clear, those terms aren't just fancy words for hanging. They imply a different kind of pressure and a different kind of force. They suggest a moment where the music didn't just stop, it was cut off by someone's hand on the dial. As of mid-April 2026, Joe McCann is still stuck in Zanzibar, a literal ghost in the very resort that was supposed to be his dream engagement moon. He's still surrounded by those white sands and turquoise waves, but that good condition room he left behind has become the center of an international firestorm. While Joe stays silent, Ashlee's friends, like Savannah Britt, are stepping up, using their platforms to scream the questions Joe won't touch. The real mystery isn't just what went down in that wardrobe. It's about who Joe McCann actually is when the cameras aren't rolling. It's about the massive gap between the guy who proposed on a safari and the guy who sat on his hands for 11 hours while a mother's daughter was slipping away. The local cops say they're waiting on final autopsy results before deciding his next move, but for the Robinson family, the jury's already out. To them, Joe's silence is a confession. The Zuri Zanzibar sells a fantasy, an untouched paradise where the messiness of the real world gets filtered out by five-star service. But in the wake of Ashlee's death, that corporate filter started pumping out a paper trail that feels less like a sympathy card and more like a legal shield. This is where the villain shifts from a person in a room to a massive corporate entity trying to manage a PR disaster.
Now to a growing mystery, the death of a lifestyle influencer, Ashlee Robinson, better known online as Ashlee Jenae. Just days after popping the question overseas, her fiancé is now being held in Zanzibar by investigators trying to figure out what happened. CBS Weekend News anchor Jerika Duncan spoke with the family and has new details. Jerika.
Yeah, good evening, Tony. Ashlee Robinson was on the vacation of a lifetime. She was in Zanzibar, which is off the coast of Tanzania. She was there celebrating her 31st birthday. Her boyfriend of about a year and a half, Joe McCann, proposed to her on the trip, but last week something went terribly wrong. Police say Robinson was found unconscious in her villa and was rushed to the hospital where she later died. Now, her parents tell me they received a call from McCann, the boyfriend, acknowledging that something had happened. But they say it was the resort where Robinson was staying that notified the family of their daughter's death.
Do you believe that Joe McCann had something to do with your daughter's death?
It's under investigation, and we don't know what went on.
It's under investigation, and like we said, we just want transparency.
Today, investigators in Tanzania held a news conference where they said they are questioning McCann and they are holding his passport until the autopsy results are complete. And Tony, we did reach out to McCann and have not heard back.
Drika Duncan, Drika, thank you very much.
At the heart of this is that one specific email the resort sent the family, a document Ashlee's father, Harry Robinson, calls one of the most disturbing parts of this whole puzzle. In that message, management claimed the couple left the villa in good condition. Now, to a resort, good condition is just a box on a checklist. It means the furniture wasn't smashed, the sheets weren't ruined, and Villa 25 was still standing. But to a family in mourning, those words are a slap in the face. If there was a fight so violent that staff had to physically drag the couple into separate rooms, how is that villa in good condition? If a woman was found in a wardrobe after a desperate, final act, how could that room be called pristine? This email points to two terrifying possibilities. Either there was zero struggle, which makes the reports of the massive fight a lie, or the room was restored to that good condition before the cops or the family ever got a look at it. In the world of international travel law, a resort's first loyalty is usually to its own brand and future bookings. By slapping a good condition label on the room, the Zuri Zanzibar wasn't just describing a suite. They were trying to wrap up a crime scene before it was even processed. But the paper trail goes deeper than just the state of the room. We still have the massive question of the surveillance footage. The Zuri Zanzibar is supposed to be a high-security fortress, and that digital eye never blinks. The resort is dotted with cameras monitoring every path, common area, and villa entry point. Ashlee's family has been relentless in asking for this footage. They want to bridge that 11-hour void. They want to see who is walking that 8-minute trail between Joe's room and Ashlee's villa. They want to see the exact moment that staffer showed up with a charging cable. But as of now, that footage hasn't been handed over. The resort keeps falling back on the phrase cooperating with authorities, which is usually just corporate speak for staying silent. While the hotel claims to be working with the U.S. Embassy, the family feels like they're being stonewalled by a company that cares way more about its Spice Island brand than the life that was lost under its roof. The real brutality here is the cold, bureaucratic wall they've hit. Ashlee was a guest who paid a premium for safety, but in the end, her final moments are being treated like a legal liability. The resort's communication has been described as curt and dismissive, focusing on the logistics of her departure, rather than the heavy reality of her death. They've reportedly even dodged direct talks with the family's lawyers, routing everything through the Nungi police station, the same station that swallowed the suicide narrative before the sun even went down on April 9th. This paper trail shows where the real power lies. When a crime happens at a luxury resort abroad, those hotel walls basically become the borders of a different country. The resort owns the evidence. They control the witnesses, who are their own employees. And with emails describing the villa as being in good condition, they control the narrative. Ashlee's family is now fighting a war on two fronts. They're pushing for an arrest, and they're battling a corporate machine trying to frame their daughter's death as a simple checkout. That good condition email will likely be a smoking gun in the legal battles to come. It's proof that while a family was losing everything, a resort was busy making sure the pillows were fluffed. The silence of the cameras and the cold tone of the emails have turned the Zuri Zanzibar from a dream destination into a vault of secrets. As the investigation stretches into late April 2026, the question remains, what was scrubbed from that room to make it good again? By April 16th, 2026, the white sands of Zanzibar have turned into a geopolitical mess. Ashlee Robinson's family isn't just grieving anymore. They're fighting a global system designed to keep them at arm's length. This tragedy has escalated from a local hotel incident to a high-stakes standoff involving the U.S. Embassy, the FBI, and the Zanzibar Ministry of Tourism. For the Robinsons, the most cruel part is the silence. Despite the international headlines and the public heat, they're still waiting for a straight answer. On April 14th, 2026, the North Unguja police commander, Benedict Mapudra, tried to lock in the official story. He held a press conference stating flatly that Ashlee used a piece of her own dress to hang herself in the wardrobe, claiming there was no sign of a crime. But even as he said that in Tanzania, Ashlee's dad, Harry Robinson, was back in the States telling reporters that none of it adds up. This is the shadow antagonist at its most heartless, the distance. The family is stuck in New Jersey and Oregon, trying to navigate a legal system thousands of miles away where the language is different and the priorities have clearly shifted. The family has made a direct plea for the FBI to step in, knowing all too well that local authorities often lack the forensic tech or the political backbone to challenge a narrative that keeps the tourism industry looking clean. The Zanzibar government is preaching patience, but for a mother who had to find out her daughter was dead from a hotel manager instead of her own son-in-law-to-be, patience feels like a straight-up betrayal. The brutal reality of this situation is the physical state of Ashlee herself. While lawyers argue and the embassy keeps tabs on the paperwork, Ashlee's body remains at Lumumba Hospital. A second autopsy is currently in the works because her family flat-out refused to accept those initial findings. They're fighting tooth and nail to bring her home, but the red tape involved in a death on foreign soil is painfully slow and incredibly expensive. They aren't just fighting for justice, they're fighting for the chance to just hold her one last time. The investigation has hit a fever pitch. By April 15th, 2026, the U.S. State Department confirmed they are monitoring the case very closely, but let's be real, monitoring isn't the same thing as making an arrest. The family is demanding a full, second-by-second review of every bit of surveillance video from the Zuri Zanzibar. They want to see into that 11-hour void. They want to know exactly who walked into Villa 25 after the staff split the couple up. They want to know if the good condition of that room was the work of a cleaning crew or a genuine lack of a struggle. Ashlee Jenae's story has become a massive rallying cry for the hashtag Justice for Ashlee movement, with influencers pointing out a disturbing pattern. When Western travelers, especially Black women, die under suspicious circumstances in these luxury bubbles, the suicide narrative is almost always the first and only story told. It's the easiest way to keep the tourist dollars flowing. But the Robinson family has made one thing very clear. They aren't letting Ashlee become a footnote in some travel brochure. As it stands today, this case is a cliffhanger of pure grief. Joe McCann's passport is still being held. That resort email about the good condition of the room is still under the microscope, and that wardrobe door remains the center of a mystery that only one woman can truly solve, but she's no longer here to speak her truth. The crown Ashlee was supposed to wear as a bride has been traded for a fight for her dignity. The glow she left behind is now a spotlight shining directly into the dark corners of a paradise that failed to protect her. The world is watching Zanzibar, and the world is waiting for the truth.